Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 1 of our brand new podcast. I'm JP Leonard.
I am Tyler Arceneaux.
And we are dying down here.
This is a podcast about two dudes living in South Louisiana, trying to do comedy and dying. From diabetes.
But we're kicking it off with our very first episode with a very special guest, Caitlin Peluffo, coming up later. Stick around. We're dying. All right, we're back.
And we'll just,
Welcome, Tyler. Thank you for coming to your own podcast.
Yep, it's great to be here on my own podcast.
Yes, I am also happy to be on my own podcast, too.
Yay.
It's not Zoom. That's good. We're not doing Zoom. We may have some special guests later on Zoom.
We like coughing on each other.
Yeah, we're going to spread it. We're recording this episode, just a little back history. We're inside Club 337. Lafayette, this is sponsored by Lafayette Comedy, presented by Lafayette Comedy, whatever. This is recorded in Club 337. According to Mark Norman, the best club in Louisiana. I think I'll put a stamp on that.
Bam, quoted.
I've been doing comedy here as Lafayette Comedy, maybe 2018, started bringing some shows. Our first big show over here was Brian Posehn. We've had stand-up a few times. Doug Stanhope.
We've done stand-up a few times.
Too. We've had Doug Stanhope a few times. We've had Shane Gillis. We've had Miss Pat. We've had Mark Norman about 12 times. We've had Bobcat. We just had
Robert Kelly
a few times. Rich Voss, Greg Fitzsimmons, Joe DeRosa.
Hey, why don't you just pull up your Facebook and read back for 30 minutes?
I'll do that. There should be little videos and pictures and stuff here. But it's a great room. It's not a conference room. I hate when people say that.
It kind of feels like it.
No, it's not. It's a nightclub. There's a bar.
All right, I honestly feel like there should be a wrestling ring with little people wrestling in
I mean, the stage is carpeted. We've got this weird lip. Emo Phillips has stood on it and touched the ceiling.
Rory
Scoville, of course. Yeah, I forget about that. But it's great. You can't see it. I mean, maybe you'll see it later. You'll see it in some videos. But it's a club, low ceilings. It's blacked out over the audience. You've got low lights here. It's a weird stage. We got faux brick walls. But it's the most amazing club I've performed at in Louisiana.
It's the best club in Louisiana, no doubt. If you're a comedian and you haven't performed here yet, that should be on your list of things to try. So bug Jason's inbox.
No. So we do the majority of our shows here are national touring comedians, the ones I just named before. You can scroll back. But we do a few showcases here. We do Stone versus Drunk versus Sober, the biggest comedy show in Louisiana. You heard me. It only takes place in Austin, Lafayette, and New Orleans. Shout out to Isaac Cozell, who hosts in New Orleans. But that one right there packs this place out. It's always new people. And we do some specialty shows here. Coming in January, we're going to do 51st Jokes over here.
Hell yeah.
Which is an open mic where comedians do their very first jokes of the year. So that we'll have that coming up. But it's an amazing room. Magic has happened here.
But we haven't always done comedy here.
No. So we both started around the same time. You were starting at a bar called JP's.
Right, yeah. Well, that was like home base for sure, but actually my first ever time on stage was on February 14th at Sidebar.
Oh, okay.
For New Orleans Comedy Hour.
So
I believe it was hosted by Molly Rubin Long and Sophia Lucido Johnson.
Yeah, that's a good name. Yeah. So before I started doing comedy, I was booking bands for a bar, which is called Scotty's Ice House. My bands played there, and I met some dudes out of New Orleans who had the NOLA Comedy Hour, and we hired them once a month on a Wednesday. And it was like a book show. And then they finally did their open mic one night, and I went, and that was it. Went back the next week, and then finally we started to do a little more often, and then I kind of started doing open mics and kind of took over that, made it a weekly show, and then we did a book show for the first hour, then an open mic after. But that's how. And then that turned from Scotty's to Poets to Sidebar, or vice versa.
And in the beginning of that, there was like almost not even like a separate scene, but just another scene going on at JP's that we were doing on Sundays, and you quickly hooked up with us, and we all kind of started moving forward in the same direction.
And then JP's, shout out to Flip, who was one of the owners over there, who kept it going and who supported Love Comedy. And we did our very first show, the big first national show was Tom Segura, February of 2015.
Never forget that.
Tom Segura, and look at him now. We also had Sean Patton that year. We had a little guy named Nate Bergazzi. I don't know if you heard of him.
You may have heard of him.
May have heard of him. Yeah, you know, sometimes you go to arena and there's a dude doing comedy. That's Nate.
Sometimes you host SNL.
Sometimes you host SNL. You know,
every now and then.
I haven't yet. I just can't get my schedule.
I had to say no because I was doing a daiquiri shop in Sulphur. So.
Yeah, there you go. Oh boy, that got sad. But yeah, so
we're dying down here.
We're dying down here. Help! But like going back to poets at Sidebar, we had Louis Katz, Mike Lawrence over there, Jeff Tate, and Mark Arnold, and then we've done a few. We've done some national comedians at Artmosphere, Jeff Tate again.
Yeah.
We've kind of sprinkled it all around this town, but. We're even doing shows now currently at the ACA, Acadiana Center for the Arts.
Absolutely.
So we just had a Shane Torres, Bridge Voss, Kevin Farley, Michael Winslow. Next year we got Emo Phillips. We got Paula Poundstone, Laura Kill Martin, Dolce Sloan. I mean, it's stupid. But this is pretty much Lafayette Comedy's home base, where I do the majority, I say 95% of our shows, and it's kind of been the staple for the last couple years. And I don't know, I think it's really, if you're doing a show here, it changes the game for you because, I mean, you can speak to this. You're not doing a daiquiri shop. You're not doing a bar where they don't turn off the TVs. It's
what's wild about this room is that people are coming to watch comedy because over the course of time, they've been trained. You know, this wasn't a comedy city before this. And now it is definitely a comedy city.
Let's name the comedians that have come here before. So Stanhope came way back in the day when it was like that 307 Jazz and that the station in Broussard. But other than that, the only comedy you were seeing was Seinfeld at the Hyman, Bill Cosby at the Hyman.
That's it.
You may have left a little drowsy after that one.
Maybe Jeff Dunham.
those puppets they ain't coming here. But yeah, so that's the history of what Lafayette comedy became, and it's a brand, but it's also a scene outside of a brand because we're comedians in Lafayette. But we've got how many comedians would you say?
North of 20.
Yeah,
I think so. We got less than 30, more than 20, if I had to guess.
And we got some bangers, you know.
Yeah, and we have some shit, you know.
We just lost two. Rest in peace, Joshua Jordan. And he's not dead, but he's dead to me. Shelby Schoen, we'll see. No, we lost two amazing comedians, and we're just like,
yeah.
But we've got some new ones, some newbies, some youngsters coming in, and it's a good scene. We don't have
freshman class is strong. I like them. I like them. Good comics.
We don't have internal strife. We get rid of the sexual assaulters.
Yeah, we try not to mess with them.
Yeah,
they're bad for business.
Bad. We don't mess with races. You know.
What kind of races? Like,
well, I mean. Moving on.
Race car drivers,
racers, yes. But yeah, it's a good scene, and it took a long time to build, but I mean we've got comedians who don't touch anywhere else in Louisiana. Robert Kelly hasn't done New Orleans in 6-7 years. Shane Gillis, his only time touring's coming here. Miss Pat even.
Dude,
so.
I got to tell you, I love New Orleans. I love some of the comedians out there.
Yes.
Awesome people, some great shows out there. A ton of comics, but man, it's a tough city to do comedy in.
Yeah, there really is so much.
Not a whole lot of stuff works real well consistently. And honestly, this venue ends up being more successful than the equivalent venues over there, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's some really good shows. Vincent Zambon runs an amazing one at the Dragon's Den now Fridays and Saturdays. Yep. That's always a staple.
Isaac show at Hi-Ho are awesome.
Yep, Isaac Cozell, he runs Stone versus Drunk versus Sober. There's a few other ones in the city, but it's a hard city if you're not doing theaters.
That's right.
6 to 1,000, 2,000 people. It's a hard city, and.
Yeah, and then honestly, for me personally, and don't take this the wrong way, producers of comedy in New Orleans, but it's hard for me to want to drive 2.5 to 3 hours, sometimes 4 if traffic's bad, and do 7 minutes for $25. That's only worth it to me so long. It just is what it is. So.
I mean, there's very few shows I'll do it for,
Exactly. Dragon's Den, I'll do it. Comedy Beast, I'll do it. I love those girls that run Comedy Beast. They're the best. Allison Hotard, Amanda G.
Isaac show. I mean, there's a few others, but there's also places in the city I won't touch. So moving on.
Yeah, I like I like New Orleans. It's good. It's better than Baton Rouge. Baton Rouge ain't got shit going on right now.
So it's hard to do a podcast when you wait, let me back it up. Let's shout out Lake Charles. Lake
Charles comedy is awesome.
Yep.
No doubt about
Jacob
it.
Guidry.
Yeah.
So
this is the podcast where we get all of our shout outs out the way so we don't have to do this every week.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. It's the last one you hear from. You hear that, Jacob?
Yeah, you little punk.
Yeah, we love you. No, but kind of going back in, like we are. I must say, we're not household names.
Definitely not. I
don't know why I said that.
Why are you saying that as though it's even possible that we are?
My own kids don't give a shit about me. Anyway, but it's starting. But I mean, we've done things. So I mean, let's talk about what you just done.
I did Skankfest this year.
That's a big one.
Yeah, Skankfest was awesome.
There's no one here, by the way. I don't know why I'm looking at the audience.
Give it up for that. Skankfest is great. I have to admit that I had just almost zero hope that I was actually going to be accepted. It's free submissions. Yeah. I mean, I know I'm a good comic and I know I had a good tape, but still, thousands of people had to have submit if I guessed. Like minimum,
I would,
right? Because a free
4,000 people minimum, I would say.
So just the fact that somebody watched my tape.
Sorry, producer.
Just the fact that somebody watched my tape, much less was like, I want this guy to be one of the 90 comics on the show, meant everything to me. Yeah. And I actually met the person who watched my tape and accepted me, Rebecca Trent, and man, she is awesome. Talk about top notch. Owner of the Creek in the Cave. Yeah, she is a goddess in comedy.
Formerly in New York, now in Austin.
Yeah, absolutely.
Was just there last week and got to watch some shows.
But Skankfest was incredible. One of the things that I love about it, and I'm not going to harp too much about this. I've talked about this with so many people, but it's just I've never felt like I was a part of such a magical thing as when national touring comedians that I look up to shake my hand and look me in the eye with respect like I'm a peer. Yeah. And it's just an incredible experience. Ron White, TJ Miller, Big J Okerson, some people that I looked up to, the reasons I do this. They shook my hand and treated me with respect just because I'm a comic, and man, it was hard to soak in. Yeah. It was even harder to come back and do an open mic in Lafayette in front of 11 fucking people. So
yeah. That's
the ups and downs, dude.
Yeah. Well, same thing. I just got back from Altercation Fest in Austin, Texas. I think it's my third time doing it. One time I had to drop out to open for a different state, but third time doing it. Amazing festival. I got to host Stone versus Drunk versus Sober over there. JT Habersat, one of the best acts, me to bring it down. And I had on my contestants panel, I don't know what that means, but Ron Lynch, who is like an amazing comedian, he voices his own character Ron from Bob's Burgers, which my kids care more about that than me, doing this festival. We had Eddie Pepitone was on the show. Ben Roy. I mean, Kristen
This whole
Becker.
episode is just Jason name dropping.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, but I get to
no, but it is like this means a lot to us. Like it.
Yeah, I mean,
we're honestly awed by it. I did a show with Eddie at Altercation last year, and I was like, What kind of life is this that I'm living? It's incredible.
Eddie's been here twice, and it's it's the hardest I've ever laughed in my life. So, so I mean, we're doing festivals. We get to open for national comedians. It's just we're still dying.
You've got some stuff coming up that I think is not. I don't know if it's a surprise yet or because.
I mean, this is gonna come out after it. So I'm going to New York in a week, like the week of Thanksgiving.
Okay.
And I'm doing a spot at New York Comedy Club. They have 3 locations, which is like, major comedy club down there. But on the Monday night, I am doing my first spot at The Stand.
Yeah, which is incredible.
Which is dumb. But, the fact that I got on that show. And then, I don't want to say the other one. Because
it might not happen and you're going to jinx it?
I just waiting for the confirmation.
So imagine a club more famous than The Stand. That's all I'll say.
Anyway, I got a little nauseous. I'm going to throw up. So next podcast, I'll either be crying or, happy. But
I might be doing this solo.
I mean, it's cool, like, to get a taste of, like, going on the road, doing, I've done runs to Austin, to Florida, to Texas with comedians, and it's like, oh, it's great. And doing multiple shows a night, where you're, Last big one I did was like, did like 4 nights with Rich Voss. And, you're doing 2 shows a night and you're doing multiple cities. And it's like, oh, this is what it's like to be a, real comedian. It's not just one-offs here or, but yeah, for me, it's like, I love doing comedy here, but I can see the grass looks greener. I don't know. It's just getting there.
I'd love, honestly, and, I told Caitlin this, so people will see me say this again, but I really do feel like people like Sam Talent have, like, made me want to just stay where I'm at and grind. And, like, right now isn't the absolute best time, but I'm traveling a lot.
Yeah.
And, as time goes on, I'll be able to travel even more because my responsibilities will lessen personally. So I don't, I'm okay just kind of sitting around here and just keeping working,
Yeah, Sam's
just keep getting better.
Sam's a different beast because he just lived on the road forever. Which by the way, I got one of his shirts in today in the mail. The Sam Talent with the knuckles or whatever.
Did you ever read his book?
Yes.
Oh my God,
twice.
Running the Light. Go check it out.
Yeah, one of the best. If you don't
get the audio version too, because a bunch of famous comedians read it, and it is great. Kyle Kinane, Ari Shaffir.
Or if you're dumb and you can't read, get the audio version.
That's me too.
I read it, but I use the highlight.
So this has been pretty much like a get to know you episode. Why don't you talk about some of your influences of comedy? What do you like about comedy?
Oh, man. So I was exposed to comedy really young. Luckily, I had parents. One's dead, the other one's dead to me. But I had parents.
Two dead parents.
They didn't PG things. So I was watching movies like Cheech and Chong, Porky's, Urban Cowboy, in between Old Yeller and Benji and everything. But
why is Urban Cowboy one of the ones on your list when you were like, dirty stuff like Cheech and Chong, Porky's?
Well, it's still an
Urban
adult
Cowboy.
show,
but it's like,
but I know
it'd be like watching Knots Landing or something and being like,
I watched that too. Dallas Falcon Crest. I watched all that shit.
Why pick fences?
Yeah. So, but in the midst of that, I got to like Stir Crazy, one of my favorite movies of all time. Richard Pryor, Gene Wilder. So and then Richard Pryor's Live on Sunset Strip. I shouldn't have been watching that, but also watch like stuff on HBO and any late night stuff, SNL, any stand up I consumed all through my life, but I never knew you can do stand up. You just do stand up. It was always this thing you had to go away for. And then I was playing music for a long time, and every now and then, like I remember going to a show in Baton Rouge, probably like 3 or 4 years before I started doing comedy, and they're like, "Hey, y'all next, but there's a comedy show going on." And I was like, "What the? Like, who does comedy in Baton Rouge?" And it was called Blue Duck. But I remember seeing like Josh Watts and maybe like Robert Rao, John
year?
Lombard. I don't know. This had to have been 2010, maybe 2011, because I stopped playing music in 2013. So this is probably maybe not 2009 or 10. And I remember it was a 420 show, so that's why they did us whatever. Anyway, comedy's dumb. But I remember seeing that and going, oh, but I didn't know you can do comedy. But every night when I would come back from road gigs, playing music, all I'd listen to was stand up. From like when Mitch Hedberg came out, like his first album was in like early 2000, I would say. That I got off of Napster allegedly, but Dave Attell I would listen to. Like that was my two ones that I listened to over and over again. I can listen to Skanks for the Memories nonstop.
It's one of the greatest comedy albums of all time.
Yeah. And and so all that, and it wasn't until like I hired those people from New Orleans, like, oh, you could just do comedy. Like, and that kind of changed everything for me. But like, to this day, Dave Attell still my god. Kinane, Rory Scovel, Chad Daniels, you got Bergazza, you got Brian Regan. There's so many just amazing comics that you just, it's stupid. And then now we're to the point where like getting to do shows with them or, that blows my mind. This would be like if I was playing music. You're like, all right, well, you're opening for Pearl Jam tonight. That's kind of how I see it. Who are you? Like, what made you?
I'm Tyler Arceneaux.
Oh, hi, Todd. I'm Jason Leonard. Welcome to We're Dying Out Here. No, like, who are your influences?
So my first exposure to comedy was very actually similar to you. Now that I never thought about this, but you talked about Cheech and Chong and stuff like that, and we had a Laserdisc growing up, and we had Cheech and Chong and like the Incredible Shrinking Woman and what's the I was born a poor black child. The Jerk with Steve Martin.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Like, I had all that on Laserdisc. So that was, like, my first exposure to comedy in general. But stand-up was definitely, like, Mitch Hedberg, Dane Cook. And, you know, I was a young teenager, absolutely loved those guys. I still, to this day, love Mitch Hedberg. And I respect Dane Cook for, you know, what he did.
Yeah, he was huge, man.
He's so successful. He gets a lot of shit for a reason. I mean, I kind of get it, but I don't agree with it. But I guess, man, what really started getting me to love stand-up comedy, though, was Last Comic Standing, oddly enough, because a lot of comics talk negatively about their experiences on it and stuff, but I do think that was really good for audience members.
Oh, yeah. From an outsider, it looked like the greatest thing in the world.
I think it was, I don't remember whether, it might have been season 1, I think it might have been season 2 with Ralphie May, but Ralphie, I remember watching Ralphie and just being like, oh my God, like I see him. Like I'm a big fat kid trying to be funny at school to get people to laugh at me, and like I could so tell that this is this guy's life too. I love Ralphie May. I loved watching. You remember watching Shorties?
Yes.
On Comedy Central. Yeah. That was my exposure to like Patrice O'Neal, Bill Burr, comics like that. And but I never really thought about doing comedy until I just had a peer, a good friend of mine, Seth, who still a very, very close friend of mine, actually did stand up with us for a little bit. He had a good friend named John Merrifield.
Never heard of him.
John was running an open mic at JP's Hookah Lounge, and he was like, "Hey, I know you kind of like comedy. Why don't you come out and watch this?" And I, as I was sitting in the audience watching the open mic, I was writing my first joke. I was like, I am already better than these hacks.
Yeah, you had that. Like, so going back, I feel bad, and it feels weird saying it, but I think everyone has it. But like when I was playing music in the Baton Rouge, and that I remember watching the comedians going, what is this? This sucks. You know, like some of these people, I'm like, you shouldn't even be on stage. Like, I could do better than that in my head. And then I was like, I'm just going to shelve that for another 4 years, 5 years, whatever. Yeah, it's dumb. But I guess that's how everyone gets into it, I would think.
Yeah, you have to, well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if people just watch it at home and they're like, let me go watch an open mic. Like, I had to be told by somebody that was a thing. Yeah. I don't know if I knew that comedy open mics existed even. I don't remember thinking about it.
No, I mean, part of the reason I wanted to bring in national comedians was, one, that's great, but two, it's going to help grow the scene. So not only bringing in more audience members, but to grow more comedians. Because you think about the comedians that work with us today, that started by coming to shows. Drew Gotro. I would see that dude here all the time, and I was like, and then one day he showed up to the open mic. He didn't even go up. I think he just went to watch, and I was like, all right. And then here he goes. He's one of my favorites right now.
Shout out top the first 5 podcasts. Check it out. It's good.
Drew Gotro, Michael Corey.
Yeah, until this one comes out, it's definitely the best comedy podcast in Lafayette. So
I said that the other night as an intro, and it didn't.
I think it was funny.
It was funny. Okay, good. Yeah, they're great. They got their video, audio. They got tons of guests. Yeah. Probably the best episodes. They have Tyler Arceneaux and JP Leonard on there.
I'm on there twice.
Oh, damn it. I'm on. Well, no, I had to guest host one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with Mike Honoré. No, that was a long time ago.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I killed it. It was great. Thank you. Thank
Very
you.
Funny man. Yeah. Very funny man.
Smash that like button. All right, I don't know what that means.
Subscribe.
All right. So part of this, we wanted to talk about our dilemma doing comedy down here. Stories we'll have. We'll share road stories and show stories. But being fortunate enough that we have a lot of national comedians that come through this room, and what a way to kick off our first episode than bring in one of my favorites, and I said it in the interview, one of the best comedians I've seen live when I was in New York, Caitlin Peluffo. Hey, y'all. Welcome to the first episode of We're Dying Down Here with our very special guest, Caitlin Peluffo.
Hello. How's it going?
Did I say that right?
Peluffo? Yeah,
no,
you
Caitlin.
nailed it. That too. Nailed it.
Just why are we pointing? That's stupid.
A little teaser that you can
We're making
expect.
one episode. Thank you. No, Caitlin Peluffo. So I just want to nerd out real quick.
Sure, nerd away.
All right, thank you. I was in New York last October. Spent like a week by myself. Went to the Cellar, the Mecca as I call it. Saw a tell. Saw these people, and I've seen your late nights, but it was the first time I saw you live, and I look back at my messages. I messaged you that night. Was like, holy shit! Like,
you did.
Blew me away.
Yeah, I remember that. That was so fun because I think I already followed you guys on Instagram.
Nice.
Because you've had like Mark and Sean down here, and I love those guys, and so I was like, oh, that club looks great, and so when you messaged me, I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah, because you did Mandeville in New Orleans, and I forget I couldn't
I did.
Put you on this
earlier this year maybe.
No,
or last year.
Yeah, it was like January. Or
I couldn't put you on a
that.
show here because we didn't have the dates, and but I think that's how I got you Mandeville because you were doing the Dragon's Den in New Orleans, whatever. But
I'm so excited to be here. If you're just listening, the room is beautiful. They did a great job setting up.
Carpeted stage.
So many people have gotten so much business advice in this room. It's incredible.
Business advice.
Yeah, this is like a conference room.
Oh, really? Oh, I thought I felt smart.
We just jazz it up.
Yeah, it looks great.
You will have to join our timeshare, though.
Okay. You know what? Honestly, I've always wanted to go to Barbados.
No, you just stay here. That's
it's actually called Grand Isle.
Oh, no.
All right, so I got rid of my nerdy stuff. So
Great. Well, thank you.
I got a nerdy thing.
Okay.
You have my favorite Don't Tell special.
Oh,
that has come out.
What a compliment.
Yeah,
That's very
I
sweet.
love it. It is like neck and neck with Sam Talents.
Oh, thank you. Sam's is great. I love Sam Talent.
Yes, yours was great too.
Oh, thank
Yours was
you.
incredible.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm in Denver, I always see him perform, and I'm always like, "What am I doing?"
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I watched him do a set at Skankfest that like made me want to quit.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll never be that funny.
I've told him this every time. He's the only comic I allow to wear shorts on stage.
Yeah.
That's it.
And boy, does he.
Boy, does he.
If he didn't, we would all be disappointed.
Yeah, they get shorter and shorter.
Where are those gams? Come on.
I'm short now.
Yeah, he pulls it off though. He has tiny little legs.
Yeah.
Little stick legs.
Yeah, he
And
can
a
wear shorts.
Strong upper body.
That doesn't make any sense. He's built like a yield sign.
Oh boy.
That's fun. I like that.
Thanks. Did you? I watched your late night sets, and they're so different than. Was that weird? Like trying to go from your like normal act to do like something more clean like that?
Because that was like 2 years ago at least.
One of them was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
right?
no, at least, yeah.
Yeah,
maybe
Colbert
longer.
was 5 years ago, and Corden was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's so funny. My boyfriend, Steven Rogers, he works
Captain America.
Captain America.
God damn it! You heard it here.
Yeah,
I know him as
the inverse.
Big Dick Steve Rogers
Big Dick
from
Steve
Joe
Rogers.
Ness. Sorry,
I've seen her act.
Exactly. He works completely clean.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
he opens for Brian Regan and Nate.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so he's very squeaky clean. And so he'll tell me, Caitlin, you can do this joke if you just take out this part. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I don't even realize.
I know.
I have so many, because when I open for Fortune Feimster, I have to be PG. And so I literally just have to change some of my jokes. And it's like literally changing one line.
That's weird because like I remember like early on doing stand up, like a clean show. We had Bergazzi the first year I started booking shows, and I was like, do I just change dick to penis on all the my jokes? Like, what do I do?
Clean even mean?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So.
I know. Well, there's one joke that it's very clear. I have a joke where it's like, I'm a creep. When you get to your 30s, you deserve to be a creep because you get creeped on so much in your teens and your 20s. By the time you get to your 30s, you should have free reign. Like every time your boss gives you a long hug, you should be able to fuck one of your nephew's college friends. But if I just change that to get felt up by one of your nephew's college friends, it's clean.
That's clean.
Yeah.
It's literally that's it. It's like I deserve to make out with one. Like even if I said make out, but fuck is way better.
Yeah.
It just is.
You said that. I've done a few like we've had Emo Phillips, Bergazzi,
Dusty Slay.
Dusty Slay.
Sweet
you know.
Dusty.
Yeah,
Great.
I opened for Jim Brewer in Biloxi at the Hard Rock, and they were like 15 minutes squeaky clean, and I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And there's the different definitions. But
If you had to open for Brewer now, it would be like you have to do alt-right.
Yeah, you just
material.
have to deny. You have to deny COVID and then pray, I guess.
Pray.
But yeah, I was just.
I don't think he's praying. There's no way.
Well, it was God Trump. But yeah, I had to like go through, and I was like, my wife's like, give it up, don't do that joke, and I was like, but I want to do it. It's my best one, but I have to change anal or whatever to,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't say butt stuff, you know.
Yeah,
so.
you can't say any of that.
Yeah.
And it's Brian Regan. I feel like has the squeakiest version of clean because you can't do any politics, no religion, no bodily functions, no sex.
Wow.
So there's you can't even make a fart joke. Yeah, it's crazy.
Those are everything I find funny.
Yeah. And when I did that, that's when I opened for him during COVID when he was doing clubs. He needed a 5-minute host at the front, and I was like, I think I have 5 minutes of that.
Yeah.
Steve went through all of my jokes, even my tweets, and was like, make this joke, turn this into a stage joke, and it's clean. I was like, oh, this is sad.
My problem is my only clean material is just my fat material. So like if somebody's like, do a clean show, it's like I'm just up there making fun of myself for like 10 minutes. And it's like, this isn't really my act.
Yeah, I'm more than this.
Yeah, trust me, I'm not just a circle.
Yeah.
So where'd you start?
I started in New York.
In New York? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I'm originally from San Francisco, but I went to grad school in New York, and then 3 years after grad school, I just started doing comedy.
What'd you go to grad school for?
I went for art, like a stupid idiot.
Tight.
Yeah, it's very expensive, and I'm never going to pay it back.
What year was that you started?
2014. I've been doing it 9 years. Okay. Almost 10.
Yeah.
Are you an artist or a painter, or was it like the philosophy of art or
I was
art
photography.
history?
Photography,
dope.
video.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, you can edit this podcast.
Yeah, I was about to
I
say, you want to
could.
make some reels for us?
It's funny, I could do it, but the technology has changed so fast that I'm like,
Now you get to pay people to do it, right?
Yeah.
exactly. For sure. Drew, I'm calling you tonight, actually. So,
open mics and everything?
Yeah. What's great about New York is that you can do like 5 to 7 open mics a night.
Yeah.
And so I feel like for the first 2 years I did comedy, I was completely obsessed.
Yeah.
And I was doing 30 mics a week.
Wow.
And working, so you just kind of, you find your friends, you figure out your stage persona pretty quickly. But the only detriment I felt was that in order to get noticed, there's so many comics in New York. In order to get noticed, I was doing like a lot of shock humor and a lot of like graphic.
Something to stand out.
Yes. And so literally I did Colbert when I was 4.5 years in, which is
Jesus Christ.
too early. And it was every clean joke I had.
That's when you had the long softball ponytail.
Yeah, it was
braided. Yeah.
The ponytail joke too.
Yeah. They literally took my only clean
Was
material.
that weird not working without a mic?
I specifically did certain open mics without a mic. So I just would put it to the side and I would say, hey, I'm going to just do this because I'm doing this thing.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I practiced, but it's still, I realized how Italian I am. So I'm like,
All hands, baby.
Yeah, all hands.
So I always said, like, when people come down here, like, for a while, we just had one open mic. And so at, max time, we have 2.
Yeah.
So I'm like, 1 year in New York is like 7 here. It's so crazy because if we want to get more, we got to drive an hour to Baton Rouge, now an hour to Lake Charles, 2 hours in New Orleans. It's brutal. But also, I always had this impression if you're like, because I know a lot of open mics, you got to pay. So like $5. When I was there last year and I followed a comic, we were on a show together, and I'm like, if you're paying for these mics, you must be good. Nope. Open mic's an open mic. I was like, oh, that's the crazy dude. That's the crazy lady. That's the racist dude. That's the,
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. There's $5. You can literally spread eagle on a stage, and who cares? It's your time.
Oh, you've seen my set.
Yeah. I'm excited for the show.
One of the benefits we do have though is that like in order to make the scene better, we just bring each other up. Like we're real tight knit.
Oh, that's
there's
nice.
only like
That's
there's
great.
less than 30 comics around here, and everybody's real close, and it's real nurturing. All the veterans, help the younger comics, and it helps a lot.
Oh,
It makes
that's
up for
great.
the lack of stage time that everyone gets.
Oh, that's good.
And it really, like, we see people develop at a fairly rapid pace just because of, just the nurturing environment. So it's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like in New York, it's very much a class thing. Like you start within 2 years, and those people who started within those 2 years is your class.
You're freshmen now.
Yeah, and then it goes up like that. And then people drop off, of course. But when you start out in New York, there are so many comics. It's like...
Yeah,
it's
especially
too much.
now.
Yeah, it's too much.
Your main club, Cellar, that's where you go up.
Yeah,
mostly?
I go up there, Gotham, and New York Comedy Club.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so between those 3, I'm very lucky. I get to work a lot.
Nice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Specials? Do you have anything?
Special-
Are you working toward the next one, or?
I recorded an album. It basically, because I've done 2 late nights and a Comedy Central and a Don't Tell. And so my jokes are kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
So this special was just like, let's get all those on an album.
That was the album.
Get them to Sirius XM and then make clips out of them and repost them. So that's coming out in January.
Nice.
And it's called
Nice.
Dirty Bird. So if you want to watch it, it'll be in snippets on YouTube. And if you want to listen to it and buy it, which I would prefer you did, it will be on iTunes.
Are you going to release a whole thing, or you just going to keep it clipped?
I'm going to do clips first, and then to try and kind of build momentum, and then
Smart.
and because I don't really have much of a YouTube following, so please, if you hear this, please follow me on YouTube.
You hear that? All 64 followers.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will
Of
take
us.
them.
Of us. Oh, you take them too.
Yeah, I will
3 of
take-
those accounts are just my burner accounts. So.
I'll take them. I'll take them.
right.
You think just a comment with a smiley face? I appreciate
Husky
it.
Lover 333. That's me.
That's beautiful. I like Husky Lover. That's a great name.
That's my alt Reddit account.
Oh no!
For no other reason.
Oh, I don't want to know.
It's an alt-right Reddit account.
Yeah.
Oh,
I am right-handed. All right, sorry. Let's go to commercial.
But yeah, so that'll be out in January. So everybody buy it, please.
Yeah. So I guess going with the theme, like, you know, again, like we're dying down here, easier to say, is about us, like, you know, trying to survive doing comedy in Louisiana.
Yeah, because
you know,
we're 10 years in now.
Oh, great.
So yeah, so we both started around the same time in 2014. So we're coming up on 10 years, and we're doing stuff.
Yeah.
And we have families, and we just made the
Yes.
decision to stay here and do stuff.
That's
so
great.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like people like Sam Talent have kind of bred like a whole new generation of comics that want to try to stay home and make it happen.
Yeah,
and,
can live where you want to
yeah.
live. I think.
But it comes with consequences. So.
And yeah,
Oh, sure.
the amount of gigs, the shows, you know, but like, so Lafayette Comedy, we bring in, you know, all the national comedians. So that, and really changed. Like back in the day, no one came here. So I started bringing the shows in 2015, and then it slowly, you know, I used to have to compete with New Orleans, and then right before COVID, it started shifting because like, and New Orleans is a weird, like unless you're doing 1,000+ theaters, it's only like, you know, little small shows. So we get a lot of people from here, and we both get, you know, work out of it. He got Skankfest this year. I've done road stuff and everything, but it's at the end of the day, we're just like, you know, you know, we don't have a club. We use this, you know, this is one of the best rooms in Louisiana.
It's great.
It's great. Everyone's great here. It feels like a comedy club. Todd Berry likes this room, so you know it's
I mean-
going
means
well.
something, baby.
Todd
That
Berry
means a
likes nothing.
Right?
Todd Berry loves this room, so
Yeah.
but
There
he's
we
here
go.
next week at a different
The
venue.
guy who had a small but pivotal role in Pootie Tang.
So anyway, so like that was a focus, like it's all both on stage, you know, making, you know, the fun of that, but also like us being stuck here. But kind of going back to you, when's the last time you really died on stage? Not like a bomb, or you just felt like
Maybe
this
even the
is-
show or like the
Yeah.
day of was shitty for whatever reason and just made for like a, you felt like you were dying.
Yeah, I mean, there's a place in New York called the Tiny Cupboard, and it's run by lovely people.
Is that the Pink Wall?
Yes.
Yes, that was the last show I had, and it got canceled because no one showed up.
There we go.
Thank
So
you.
you're sensing a theme.
Yes.
Um,
Okay, great.
So I had just done something. I forget. I think I was my Don't Tell set. I just came back from my Don't Tell, and I was like, I got to work on new. Okay, I'm going to do this Tiny Cupboard show and really work on new. Here we go. I got up there, and I haven't bombed that hard in years. Like, it was to the point where I was up there, I was like, is my mic on? Is there what? These are jokes. I know that they're jokes. And I like started out with like tried and true and then moved into new, and they were just not having any of it. I couldn't do anything. And I was like, well, what do you want to talk? I was like, it was 10 minutes of my life. It felt like an hour and a half. Just up there like flop sweating. Like,
Oh my goodness.
what is happening? It was
So
awful.
you even started with something, you started with good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a sandwich. I
yeah,
do
I
a
do the
sandwich.
exact same thing.
Yeah,
I don't
I-
trust myself to start with new
No,
stuff.
no.
I got to get them to like me first.
Yeah, exactly. But then I did my New York Comedy Festival show at the Tiny Cupboard on Tuesday, and it went
nice.
great. But I literally went up there so nervous, being like, this is going to be a disaster. I'm about to bomb
My new shit sucks. I
again."
can't write
Yes.
anything good.
Well, that's with writing a new hour. You're like, how did I ever write a joke in the first place?
Yeah.
Did these just come like divine intervention?
You
Did I?
see that, but I always kind of remember, like, when someone puts out their first album, they've been doing it usually for a while, like
That
8,
first
10
hour's so
years.
good.
So
Yeah.
they've just been
Lot of
perfected
jokes.
it. And then maybe a second album, and then after that, it's like, well, I guess I'm doing long form storytelling,
Yeah,
you know. And then it's just like,
know.
all right, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and I mean, like, I'm in the thick of it. I'm trying so hard. You're about to hear some of it. You know, I feel like I have about 20 new that I'm happy with, but not thrilled with.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
there's only one way
that's
to
the-
get
yeah,
better.
that's it. Just,
So buckle up, Lafayette.
yeah.
You're about to hear blood boners. It's a new
Jason
hot
knows
bit.
about that, I think.
Yeah, well, there goes my opening.
Yeah, it's really, it's painful. But, you know, there's only one way to get good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, do the bad stuff till it gets good.
Yes.
Are you somebody that, like, I know this joke is good, no matter how bad it's doing, I'm gonna keep sharpening this until you believe in it, and you're gonna keep sharpening it till it works.
Well, I'll pick it up and use it, you know, I'll try for like a month. And if it's not happening, I just file it away and then I'll bring it back and then I'll file it. I have a few jokes like that where I was like, I don't think I'm good enough to tell this story yet. So I'm going to wait.
Yeah.
And then it comes back 2 years later, finally, you know, like what am I, the don't tell, I think the Woody Allen joke.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
That one, I tried it my second year of comedy and I couldn't, it just, everybody thought I was being like pro Woody Allen. It's like, no. So I put that one down, then brought it back, then put it down. And then finally I was able to get it to work the way I wanted. But it takes a while. But I'll hold on to something and I'll always remember it. And then something will happen and I'll be like,
That's
I
my
gotta go
problem.
back to
I'll
that.
do it once or twice, and it goes in the library. And it's
No!
like, just stay there, and I just wait, you know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I psych myself out on
No,
stuff.
I know. Sometimes, especially if it's like edgier, you know, it's something that can be divisive. I
Yeah.
always tend to stay away from. I don't have the guts really to
Yeah.
do it, but then if it's the right crowd, I'll pull it out.
Yeah, and then because if you're not confident in it, then it's not going to come out right.
No.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
you're
Like
gonna-
if you feel like some edgy material, you're not good enough to do it. That means you're not.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
I think that's true.
So I have a bunch of those that are like, okay, maybe at 15 years I'll be able to talk about this mass shooter. You know.
The reunion tour.
Yeah,
there you go.
exactly.
I like how.
And again, I'm not pro mass shooter. I just want to make sure that's
You heard it
clear.
here first, guys.
Sandy Hook is
boy.
real.
Oh my God.
I'm very interested in your ability to like talk to the crowd with your material. Like you do it in such a special way. Like you hone in on specific people. Did you do that on purpose or just naturally? That like, are you able to get up here and just be like, this is how intimate I'm going to get with y'all?
Yeah, I enjoy talking to people. I also have ADD a little bit.
You're also
So
aggressive in
every-
a good way.
That's
You're
what
very
I mean,
aggressive.
though. It's
Like
like
you
you'll
got a
be
small
like,
dick,
you
and like,
sir, I'm coming after your dick.
Yeah.
Like, specifically.
Well, it literally, like I'll start. I'm getting a little more calm in my old age. But like I
Mucinex.
remember when I used to, like 5 years ago, I would come on stage and the first thing I would be like, "Look at you!" I would say 3 things rapid fire, because that's everything
Yeah.
that was pumping through my brain, and then I would start my set. And so now I can go up, start my set. If I'm nervous, I'll do that, but I can pretty much go up, start my set, and then if I forget where I am, I'll be like, well, what's this?
Yeah.
What's the deal with this? But I'm clocking everything. And it's just inevitable that I will talk to the audience because I can't help myself.
Yeah.
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 I'm the opposite. I'm like, I have this thing where I kind of cross my eyes and I blur out the front.
Oh,
And
really?
so I can't see faces. Like you could be, I can have my wife in the front row. I won't even know. I'll be like, whatever. But when someone interacts with me or they say something, then I'm like, oh, I'm okay with it, but I can't open it up,
Yeah.
But also I couldn't hit on women in college, so I
Well,
guess it's the same thing.
there we-
I,
it's the same
Same
I
thing.
went through a phase where like I almost started every actual showcase or something with like making fun of the front row.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I loved Bobby. Bobby Kelly was like one of my favorite comics, and I saw him live. He just tore this room apart, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I just want to call people names, and so
Like
You got the
Don
fat
and,
part
Rickles.
and it was
Yeah.
fun and it was good, but my material started suffering for it a little bit because I was a little more focused on that. So like I kind of go in and out,
Yeah.
but slowly developing all of those skill sets over time, I think, is important. You know?
Yeah, and I truly believe you should just like lean into whatever comes naturally to you.
Yeah.
But you do need to have a balance, because if the crowd's not into it, like the last thing I want to do is hurt someone's feelings. And so like there was a couple in the show last night they were a married couple and they kept making bad jokes about each other. I was like, you guys are gonna get divorced.
Like out loud.
And yeah, like I was like, oh, you
worst.
guys, like I would be like, oh, are you guys married? And he was like, unfortunately. And it's like, no, your wife is gonna leave you, you know. And then they started getting like,
You better start doing stand up quick.
yeah, it's like what you're doing is crazy. This isn't me. This is you. I have to deal with this now that you're shitting on your marriage.
We had the opposite at a show last night. We had a couple who. It was her first time doing an open mic, of course. And
She
it
heckled every single comedian.
No.
Yeah. But her whole
no.
set was about her and her, who's recording like 2 feet away. Recording
Oh,
set.
God.
They're doing coke, yeah, and like portrait, not even landscape.
Oh boy,
doing
it's just for the gram.
doing coke on the toilet,
Yeah.
you know, and we were like,
Her
what?
punchlines were, we do coke off the back of toilets. That's
We
what
do
she-
meth, yeah.
Oh
So,
my God.
Let's bring her out.
Look,
No.
tattooed neck from like chin down.
Wow.
Like completely black.
Wow.
It was dope.
You know what? If you found your thing, you found your thing.
Hey,
Yeah.
Go get them.
before we wrap up, like,
Sure.
tell us, what do you like about comedy? Who are your favorites? Who should we know?
Well,
Oh, yeah, any recommendations?
recommendations. Well, I love David Tell. He's my favorite.
Ooh, that's his favorite too, I
Yeah.
think.
I got
I
to
love
perform
him and
last year,
Rory.
and that's the reason I went to New York.
Yeah.
And it was, it was
He's the best. He's a great little curmudgeon.
The jokes.
Yeah. Just so great. I also
And now the recorder.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
beautiful.
Our little flautist.
Yes.
But yeah, I love him. I love Maria Bamford. Love and on a lesser famous, but I think should be bigger, Dan Soder.
Oh my God.
I can't stop
You just
watching
made me feel
him.
so many feelings. I love
Yeah.
Dan.
He's so
incredible.
talented.
I'm loving the resurgence. I just listened to his episode of Blocks today with Neil Brennan, and it's like, now that he's coming out and touring more,
He's starting his own
so
podcast soon.
great.
I'm so excited
Yeah.
Oh,
about.
good. Yeah, he's so fantastic.
I'm very inspired by
Yeah.
his Macho Man Randy Savage impression. So
Yes.
because I am known to don the Macho Man outfit and do some impressions, and I watch Dan for the nuances to learn, because that's the best way to learn an impression, I think, is watch other people who do the impression.
Yeah.
So,
But his
I'm a
name,
big
his
fan.
name is Nacho Man.
Yeah.
Get it because he's fat. All right.
Let's not hurt each other with
no,
our
this
words.
called me 22 Savage.
This is our love language.
Yeah.
Who was your class like when you started? Like, so who'd you start
When I got to New York, I was started around the same time as like Usama Siddiqui, Eagle Witt, Jordan Jensen.
Okay.
Like
I know
that is
Jordan.
kind of my class.
She's kind of on the run right now. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
Her
doing
and
great.
Ian have a podcast.
Yeah. it's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going great.
She just did I just watched a 30 with
Gas
on-
Digital.
Yeah, Gas Digital. Yeah. it's
Yeah, don't ask her about it.
Okay, well, was she not a fan of it? She's not a fan
It's
of
a
it?
whole
Oh.
thing. I won't say either way, but just don't bring it up.
Dave's was the best.
What was
Dave Smith's was the best, I feel like.
Dave Smith.
His
Oh,
30.
him.
Yeah.
That's nice.
She has feelings.
This is where we zoom in the cameras real quick.
Okay.
No.
We don't have to do drama.
Dave Smith. I'm trying to think which is he. He's not the one with the scar.
No, I
No.
don't think so.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure if Dave
There's.
has a scar or not.
I'm blanking on his name. His last name is Smith as well, I think. This is really good podcasting.
Yeah.
So good. Let's just think
edit
about a
this
name.
out.
Yes, please God.
I will.
But yeah, that's kind of my class that I started with.
That's awesome.
Ian Lara was a little bit ahead
yeah.
of me.
I had him a couple
He
years
was a couple
ago.
years ahead of me, so he's
like
like
Ian.
the class up.
What an ugly dude.
So
So ugly. God.
vomit.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just want to. No, I'm not. I want to lick his eyebrows. He's so smooth and just. It's a beautiful man.
Yeah, he also knows it.
I'd
Have you
let
seen
him
his Instagram?
breastfeed
Oh,
off
yeah,
of me.
yeah.
Oh my God, just tons of pictures. I like the breastfeed line.
Sorry.
I'm not gonna
I
let
did-
it die on the
What?
vine.
It was
I
bad.
recognize
It was the word. It was bad
I
timing.
appreciate
It was
it.
bad timing
What did you
because I
say?
stepped
What?
over.
He wants to breastfeed Ian Lara. And he
Well,
said it
this
in a way.
podcast had a good run, guys.
And I just wanted to make sure that we acknowledge he
Yeah.
took a big swing, and I appreciate it. Okay.
We're gonna clip the fuck out of that
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. I just want you to know I see you. I see you.
I feel seen.
Well, Caitlin, thank you for being here. Anything you want to say, plug, give us tags, all that?
I have a podcast called Good Time Gal.
Yep.
Please listen. And then I also my album Dirty Bird is going to be coming out in January. So keep an eye out for that, and just follow me on Instagram at Caitlin Peluffo.
Hell yeah.
I would truly appreciate it. So thank you so much for having me, guys.
Heck yeah. And we're going to have a great show tonight.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're going to
Don't tell me how many tickets are sold until after
14.
Yes!
No, I'm joking.
As long as it's double digits.
I'm joking. It's a lot more than that.
Great. Phew. All right. Sweet.
All right. Good job.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys. Thank you. Clap us out.
Hey.
There we go. Awesome.
Incredible. Thank you so much.
All right, that was our first interview on this podcast with Caitlin Peluffo. Thoughts?
I was so incredibly nervous because I have this giant pimple on my nose. And I was so self-conscious of it the whole time.
I was going to take it out in post, but now I'm
However,
leaving
she
it.
is so funny.
Dude, she, again, I said it again before. I said it in the interview. She killed me in New York, and I think, like, as soon as I got my phone out the bag, I sent a message right there. I was like, it blew me away, and I had only seen her late night stuff. But
I'm not going to bury the lead from our recommendations, but she's in them.
Oh,
and
okay.
she was in them already. So,
So that was a fun. I mean, she was so nice, and she was going with everything.
she literally got off the road, walked in here, got on stage, and did a podcast.
Got water, and came in.
I mean, I wasn't going to give her business away, but
let's roll the footage. No. My bad. Let's cut to commercial. No, I mean, if you want to get weird, let's talk about breastfeeding Ian and Laura. So I just wanted to lick his eyebrows.
Just watch the interview.
Yeah, they did. We just
that's true.
God, amateur.
He's cute though.
He's a beautiful fucking man. That's a beautiful man. And we had him at the beer garden, and he was so good.
Follow Ian Laura Live on Instagram.
God, so good. So we're doing this part after the show, so now we get the pleasure of talking about the show. So I was hosting, you did a spot, Samantha Betnars from New Orleans,
absolutely,
and then Caitlin. And so first of all, we had over 100 people here. We had a mix of, I think the oldest person was like in his 70s. That was a birthday.
Dude, the front row was old.
Dude, it was crazy. We had birthdays, anniversaries. It was. I've never began a set with crowd work, but I had to address the lady in the tiara, which I was like, let's get it out the way. So, and they were the nicest. It was the nicest people. No one wanted to take over anything, and we had there. We had anniversaries.
You didn't get the lady that was sitting right here in this chair talking to you during your whole set, though. She literally every time I'm trying to build silence, she's commenting on whatever I just said.
She probably had some cookies.
There was a point whenever I had to look at her and say, "Ma'am, that is enough." You should play the clip of that in this part right here.
Just us yelling at old ladies. But no, it was great. First time seeing Samantha. She was a New York comic now out of New Orleans.
Awesome stuff.
And then Caitlin, she's fearless, man.
It's not fair.
Yeah, and she was running a bunch of new stuff, and it was just
so good.
Yeah, she's got she's aggressive in a good way. She's not like timid, she's not very. She is like in your face. She put her foot on the rail, and
a force of nature.
Force of nature.
I mean, just complete powerhouse on stage. It's incredible.
Yeah. So make sure you we did the plugs in the interview, but make sure you check out everything she has, and I'm so excited for her special in January. That's gonna be great.
Dirty Bird.
Dirty Bird. All right. So let's get to the next part.
Ooh. Can we do Hack Watch? Yeah.
Roll cool credit.
All right.
I don't know what's dancing right there.
Do you have anything to start us off with? And I may just jump in.
I mean, if you're watching this, you should know what a hack is, if you're a comedy fan. But it's just it's something that's it's been beaten down. It's so much. It's just I don't want to call it a pet peeve. It's just it just makes me cringe.
We could even think of it as this is, if you're watching this and you're a younger comedian, don't do this.
Don't do it. If you're a show producer, that's the biggest thing for me. If you run a show, don't do this. So I'm going to say my biggest right now is a host doing time in between comedians. So
too much time. At
It's
the
okay to
wrong
make
time.
a little jab, especially play off something if the set ended.
I would even venture to say it is okay to do a joke in the right moment.
Yes.
If you're piling on top of maybe another comic's joke, or if you're trying to bring the room back after a bad comic.
Yes.
Which, maybe you do need to do a joke. But if you're doing like a minute between each comic, that's too much.
Oh, I've seen 5 minutes. I've seen more. I tell you, the worst is I did a show. Me and Isaac Cozell did a show in Shreveport, Sam's Town Casino. I used to play it when I had a band. First time doing comedy there. The host did like 30 minutes up top. And then it was 4 comedians doing 30 minutes each. After each comedian, he did another 25 to 30. One of them, he did 40 minutes.
Between each comic?
Between each comic. And at the end, he did more time. Like, he recorded like 3 specials that night, just himself, And
then it's like, and if you don't understand why this is such a big deal, it's just that with a comedy show, you're trying to build a certain amount of momentum. And
especially if there's a headliner, you're setting them up for success,
Yeah, and if you're literally doing this, if you're a host, and if you're a host that's like not as good as the people on the show, it's even worse then, because then you're coming in and you're killing the crowd. So you have your show doing this, and it's not good. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
Get in and get out.
What about you?
The number one thing I think I'd like to start off with, and this will probably be a theme of things that I talk about in the future, is just self-awareness, especially for younger comics. I think everybody's got to learn what it means to kill, because I often see people get off stage and be like, "Oh, I killed," and I'm like, "You did not.
You don't know what kill him. Yeah,
you did not. You had
involuntary manslaughter.
You had majority of your jokes got some laughter, and a couple of your jokes didn't. Yeah, you did not kill. That's not what killing is. And like, this isn't even a shot at anyone specifically. I just think that with a lot of younger comics who are trying to get better, self-awareness is the most important thing. Record your sets, listen to your sets, and be real about it. If you record record a comic that you like that does really well, record their sets, and then compare them together. If you're not getting the same amount of laughter, then you're not killing, And I think that there's like a lack of self-awareness with a lot of younger comics. You seen that?
Oh, yeah, totally. But I mean, I get it. When as a new comic, when you start getting those first pops, you're like, oh, it's great. In your head, what you hear on stage, sometimes, like I've done it myself, like going back and listening to a tape, like, oh, that wasn't as hot as I thought it was,
That's why recording is so important.
Yeah. And the video really helps too, just to see, like, what?
Oh, yeah. Video I was scared of in the beginning, because I just don't want to look at myself like that.
Yeah. I mean, now I record every show over here, so I record the shows for the comedians, the headliners, for the openers, everyone. But it gives you a lot, and I never recorded sets in the beginning. Like I stopped doing audio. I just like, okay, I'm not worried about it. But now that I have all these videos and especially like the multiple camera angles and everything, I'm like,
Now that I am an exceptional comedian, I really enjoy having so much video.
Yeah.
Because I make
usable.
reels.
Yeah,
now,
exactly. Yeah, it's the nature of comedy now, making reels and also submission tapes and everything too.
The landscape is changing.
Yeah. All right. Hey, I want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors. First up is Gator Custom Graphics. They are local full-service sign shop specializing in banners, wide format printing, and vehicle graphics.
Local?
They're local.
Local to here?
Out of Crowley.
Gator.
They're
local to here.
Yeah. Alligator. Anyway, from business cards to your storefront, Gator Custom Graphics has your sign and print needs. Check them out, Gator Custom Graphics. That's with the X.com. And they're also on the Instagram. And if you go to our Instagram, you can find a link to their stuff. Our other sponsor we want to thank is Ounce of Hope. Ounce of Hope Aquaponic Cannabis Company. They provide high-quality CBD and Delta-8 through advanced aquaponic systems for the utmost in quality products. Edibles, gummies, brownies, tinctures, and more. And big sponsor, big comedy fan, shout out Colin. They also provided this huge-ass banner behind us.
This is a big banner.
It's a big banner, ball.
Yes.
He's like, hey, can we get you a banner? I'm like, yeah. Then this showed up, and it's huge, but it covers like the door and stuff like that. So it's great. And we also got a reel with Jamie Kennedy riffs on it. Totally worth watching. But check them out at ounceofhope.com.
They should send us some edibles, specifically me.
They'll send them to you. Recommendations. All right. So I've watched a lot of people that are not big, but probably, and I hope I'm not going to mess up his last name, but Jeffrey Asmus. Shit.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah. I'm bad at names, but he has a special right now you can watch free on YouTube. I've been talking to his agent. He actually hit me up about doing 2024. We're going to have him here. One of the funniest, goofiest comics I have ever seen, and it is I can't recommend enough. His clips are great, his crowd work is great, but that special is freaking magical. He even has a neon sign that he turns on and off. His parents were in the audience.
Send that to me. I want to watch that. It's a good rec, sounds like.
Yeah, we'll put this in the
show notes.
Description. Yeah.
Show notes.
We have show notes.
We have show notes.
I thought you said show nuts, but all right. Show nuts.
Show your nuts.
All right.
Now it's time for the new segment.
Show your nuts. Here's one. All right. What about you?
All right, so since this is the first Rex, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list my top 4 favorite working comedians.
Oh, okay.
I don't think these are the necessarily greatest of all time. I'm not like building a Mount Rushmore. I'm saying I watch everything these people do because everything they do makes me laugh, and the work they're putting in, they should all be more famous because of it.
So before you do that, was I supposed to do more than one, or
no?
Okay,
we can go back.
I mean, I'm excited about other things, but go ahead.
Okay.
Let's go here.
Joe List,
the God. We've had him twice. One of my top favorite comedians.
And as popular as he is, still not famous enough. Joe List is one of the best writers. There's not many people who put out a special and it's as good or better than the last, and then they do it again.
So
and then do it again.
I bought his first album before I knew who he was, based off his album cover, because he recreated a Bob Dylan album cover, and it's him and the guy who's standing in the back. Was it maybe Jason Cantor or whatever? I remember talking about that, but seeing that cover, and I was like, let me take a chance on that. And Joe's like, I should never recorded that album, but like, became a fan. But yeah, his specials. He's one of the best, and I'm a diehard Tuesdays with Stories podcast listener. I listen religiously. Gay. I'm a Tuesday. Joe List, Mark Norman. You've heard of Mark Norman?
Who?
Okay,
Norm McMartin.
Yeah, that's him.
Norma for McDonald.
Joe List, Mark Norman, my favorite podcast in the world. Tuesdays with Stories. But yeah, Joe is. Yeah, I fully agree.
Number 2.
All right,
Sam Talent.
Yes.
I mean, number 1 or 1A, Don't Tell special. Rivals only Caitlin's. I said this on our interview.
He's a great hugger.
Yeah, he's so big. He just just gets you. He gets all of you.
It must be what it's like to have a father.
He gets all of you.
Yeah.
Also, just his stage command and ability to be like the general of a room is incredible, and quite frankly, second to none.
Yeah.
I mean, he gets up there and just everybody pays attention. He's incredible. Number 3, Ali Sadiq. I think Ali Sadiq is one of the most captivating humans on the planet. He reminds me a lot of some of the comedians that were famous around Louisiana and moved away, like Howard Hall and Carissa Cropper, and just real captivating comedians. Ali Sadiq is one of the best storytellers in the country, and he did it out of Houston.
Yeah,
like that's to me
for a long time.
To me that means everything. Like he he didn't leave. Like he stayed in Houston. So that that's what I want to do out of Lafayette, Louisiana. And number 4. And look, honestly, I had her on my list before this episode, before this interview. But Caitlin Peluffo, I've been watching her clips. I watched her Don't Tell as soon as it came out. Yeah. Her late night sets are amazing. I put her in the same space as Sam Talent as far as the ability to command a room.
Yeah, she took control of this stage. She scared me the first time I saw her. I'm like, she's aggressive, but she is so freaking funny. Again, nicest person in the world.
Yeah. Do you have any more recs you want to do?
Yeah. So when I'm in New York next week, I'm gonna get to see Phil Hanley's. He's doing a new hour, but his last special.
Yes.
goodness gracious, like it's magical. It's so good, and his crowd work and his little jabs. And he'll take something they do, and he insults them, but in a nice way, and it's so beautiful. And I'm just gonna go with some people I'm looking forward to besides Caitlin's special. But
I hope you get to see Jeff Akrury. You know who that is?
Yeah.
He's killing it right now on socials, dude.
Yeah.
His clips are huge, and he's one of those people, like, you ever get jealous of somebody's crowd work? You're like, how do you build those jokes so fast?
Yeah.
He's one of those people.
I'm looking forward to shout out to Shane Torres. He's going to be coming through in December, but looking forward to his new special produced by Bert Kreischer. So that's really my.
When does that? Do you know when that comes out?
I don't know. Hasn't said yet.
If he's going to be coming through to promote that probably. Huh?
Yeah. So he's doing a show in December. I think maybe the 15th in Houma. Isaac Cozell runs a show in Houma at Bayou Terrebonne Distilleries, and then he's going to come through. He's going to jump on the spot, and then you're going to whisk him away to Lake Charles to do Jacob Guidry's show.
We're going to go do the Library Riot.
Yeah, and the only reason he's not doing Lafayette is because he just did it in March, maybe, I want to say.
And Sean Patton's doing Lafayette that night.
But Sean Patton will be here that night, so
we're going to have fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good day.
All right, that was, what do we call it, the Rex? No.
Yeah, Rex is good. Rex. R-E-C-S.
Rex. Can we spell it?
Rex.
Can we put a Z on the end?
Rex. I like that.
All right.
The Rex.
We're so stupid.
It's the worst.
I know. Thank you for sticking around, y'all.
Yeah. Is that it? We wrapping?
Well, let's do plugs. So where can they find you, Tyler?
Let me pull out my calendar right quick because I didn't make any notes beforehand.
I should have got mine.
Every single Tuesday at Artmosphere in Lafayette, I host an open mic with John Merrifield, who is an exceptional comic, somebody we all started with.
What's it called again?
Comedy on V.
Okay.
I forgot because somebody else, the co-host of mine, calls it Comedy Étouffée all the time on accident.
Shout out to
I'm gonna be Macho Man Randy Savage roasting Edgar Allan Poe on November 19th. This is not going to be out by then.
No, it'll probably be.
Probably not. I'm not going to plug that one then.
It's gonna be it was a great show, by the way.
You can edit. I was so good.
Yeah.
December 1st through 3rd, I'm going to be in Houston.
Nice.
I'm doing Secret Group and Riot back and forth, picking up a bunch of shows. I'll just be bouncing around. You can follow me. Follow me everywhere at the Tyler A. Other than that Shane Torres show the 16th. But yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. You've missed it if you're watching this, but we just had Todd Barry. So I did 2 nights with Todd Barry, Lafayette and Baton Rouge.
Just bragging, constantly bragging this guy.
Sorry. Ben Bailey was here.
More things that no one's going to see because it just happened.
You know. I will be in New York Comedy Club on the 19th, the Stand on the 20th, the 22nd. If everything goes right, another club, that's the top one in New York, which I'm squirting a little peeing. And then I come back. I'm doing I got a private gig in Youngsville at the Cajun Mansion on December 1st, so this should be out. It's like a dinner thing, so me, Maggie Shipley, Terrence Elaine, Josh Watts. It's a huge piece of crap.
The worst, right?
The worst,
just
dude.
The worst.
You hear that, Josh Chase?
Josh worse. They should.
Yeah.
I'm
that tag I gave you, it's true. December 2nd, I'll be doing Dragon's Den with Vince Zambon in New Orleans. And then, what else, buddy? We got Sean Patton on the 16th here. Lisa Curry at the end on the 29th.
Stone Drunk Sober, December 30th.
The 50th show here in Lafayette, and I'm letting this guy host it for me. I'm taking the night off from hosting, but I'm going to be I'll be on team not sober. I'm going to have a few drinks. So,
and just in case anybody was wondering why I'm hosting, it's because I asked JP for about 2 years to be able to host Stone Drunk Sober, which I believe I've earned.
I was like, you have to win over 10 times.
And I did it 14 times.
Okay. No reason to brag. But yeah, so we have that. And you can follow me at the JP Leonard on everything, the Instagram, the Facebooks. I'm not on Twitter or X, whatever. I'm on Hinder. Thank you. Follow me at Lips of an Angel.
That's just where you cheat on your life.
Jesus Christ.
My girlfriend's in the next room or whatever.
Cheating on my wife is just me going away, like camping and eating white bread. That's it. We only buy honey wheat in our house. And then, I don't know. I'm on TikTok. Why? I don't know. Look at the kids.
Communist.
Yes, thank you. And then I got some hot reels on there. And then Lafayette Comedies right behind me. This big old sign. Lafayette Comedy produces all these shows. This podcast, if you're watching it, you should be on our YouTube channel. I'll be coming out here and all the clips and everything. So, I mean, for a first episode, besides the 7 retakes we had to do at the beginning, because we couldn't remember.
Got to release bloopers. That shit was funny though. I ain't gonna lie.
Anyway, so we thank you for being here. This is gonna be on Spotify and iTunes, the audio versions. The video will be on the YouTubes, and we'll do all the clips everywhere else. All right, awesome. We did it.
Good work, man. That
comedy. Wait, no, I can't say that. I'll get
comedy?
sued.
Yeah, cut that out.
Stand-up comedy.
Stand-up comedy.
All right, roll that credit.